Alice Well here. We're gonna do a reading. We're gonna do the new moon in Sagittarius on the 23rd. Very exciting. I think that is what the day before Thanksgiving. So maybe we're all feeling a little bit like a little nervous to see family, or I don't know what. We'll see. Maybe you're going home for the weekend. All of my information is below. I'm not doing personal readings right now. I don't know. Transitional phase. That's my cat. All right, here we go. Let's get started. We have the first card that came out was peace. Then we have service. And then we have empathy. Wowzers. I think that these are great ones for Thanksgiving. Because we're talking about like what we're thankful for, gratitude, that kind of thing. I mean, whatever you think about the holidays that we have in our society and how they might have come about, I think there's also, I don't know why this is coming up, but something about accepting the circumstances that you are in and not resisting them. Because as you resist them or you push people away who you feel like, oh, this person, subconsciously you might be feeling like they don't deserve my love, or there's something about this that is a spiny, you know, this might be a family member or something. There's like a relationship that hurts when you touch it. There's a message here about how to cultivate peace within ourselves through service, I would assume service to others, and this empathy from... It's actually an empathy towards yourself. They're saying, like, my guides are like, this is an empathy towards like God, but what they mean by God is like the higher self, the you that sent you here, forgiving yourself for putting yourself in the way of people who are even able to hurt you, but in this way, uncovering what love is really about. Cool, groovy. Let's keep going. I feel like we're just hitting the ground running, so. Okay, so far this resonates with you. These are going to be the themes. I haven't used this deck in a while. This is the Soul's Journey Lesson cards. It was one of my first decks that I got myself. I love it. I highly recommend it. But we are going to move on to Wisdom of the Tao, and we're going to get a little bit deeper into it and talk more maybe about the specifics of who these people that we're interacting with are. You know, what kind of service are we talking about? Service to others? What kind of empathy are we talking about? I don't know. We will see. Cool. It's a beautiful night. I have the window open. Okay, so we're starting with peace. This is clarifying our peace card. The message on it is, I am a being of love and I release all negative energy. I think actually, and the clarifying, my cat's about to knock over this waste basket. So if you hear something clang, that's what it was. She's looking at it real intense. Inspiration is our clarifying card for peace. I think that there is something magical going on within the bounds of your disappointment. Peace comes after war, is what they're saying. That the concept of peace really doesn't mean anything unless you've known battle or unless you've known conflict. And being able to treasure peace is actually harder than we think. Yeah, she's going for it. Oh, she's looking at her, she took a, and then she's licking her paws. This might be you, actually. Usually whatever happens in my readings is part of it. You might be like curiously walking up to something. Okay. The destruction that comes from your curiosity or the irrefutable change, like something has changed and you can't deny that it's changed, and you can't deny that it is somehow giving you grief that it's changed, something like that. It seems like this is in relation to either one particular person. This might just be like a general thing, like who knows, whatever, take however it resonates. There's inspiration in this loss. In this grief, it's a current that goes through you. Grief is a frequency of its own, and you don't have to try to transmute it. You might be someone who's a little bit fixed on making your grief into something else, something that it's not, because it's actually just grief. There goes our waist piece. Our waist. Oh no, she didn't get it yet. That was a good attempt, though. She's walking away from it. Yeah. Interesting. We're gonna get more. I don't know where this is going. So our next card that we're clarifying is service. So we know that there is inspiration in this piece, that there is some reason that we have had to go through. Oh, I see. Okay, so the water is this subconscious. These are the depths of your subconscious, which you are sailing around. There's a great phrase, smooth sailing, never a seasoned sailor made, something like some tongue twister like that. Smooth seas, never a, I don't know. And now she's in the now she's in the litter box. Yeah, I mean, speaking of, all right, so when I was saying that little tongue twister, I was gonna say or that shit, or like something, or shit like that. And now my cat is literally taking a dump. So sorry, this is getting a little too graphic, but I feel like the image that's coming to me also is of the lotus flower, which needs mud to grow in. And there's like a real like shit feeling, like a shit feeling. Everyone knows this feeling. This is the like can't eat, can't sleep, really in the shit feeling. And they're discussing, like my guides are kind of saying to me that like this piece that we might be after here, either with a person or like a situation or something, or this is just general advice for whenever you do feel the shit. The inspiration comes from the grief, not in the transmuting of the grief or making it into something else. It is simply the appreciation and sitting with it, which will inevitably, because all things change and nothing can stay the same, it will become something else. But to grieve with the purpose of transmutation is counterproductive and like against the point. Okay, let's move on. Service to others. Service to others. So yeah, we got our service card. I feel good when I can help others. Service to others is really critical. And it's interesting because I feel like maybe this resonates with you, maybe not, but if you are someone who feels like they don't have a lot to give in a situation, or you feel as though the things that you have to give are maybe too niche for everybody, they're not. We've all been either at a party, this is kind of like the theme of Thanksgiving. So say you're at a Thanksgiving party or something. We've all been at a party where there is someone there who like we can't stand, or like they're so annoying to us, or there's something that's really poking at us. And we adhere to that. We like allow them to be the main character of this conversation. And meanwhile, in the back of their head, we might be like, oh, screw this guy or whatever. But like, think about that, but in relation to you. So like, you know that you are not as bad as like that. You're like, I know I'm not that clueless at a party, or I know I'm trying my best, and I know I don't want to like hurt people, or I don't know, whatever. You're like, you think of like the worst possible party guest, you know, you're like, well, at least I'm not that. But I do know that guest, the person who is the most authentically themselves, the person who really shows up, is the most powerful person in the room. Like, we all have to adhere to like whatever wackadoo conversation they are having, or like they are just insistently in their personality, right? Carry yourself with the confidence of the least self-aware person in the room, because you are self-aware. Just be yourself, and because you are loving, and because like your ultimate goal is peace, and you found inspiration in these depths of yourself, in grief, which you are just accepting as grief, there's this magical like catch. Let the universe catch you. Oh, interesting. Yeah, and there's even like a perfectionist, certainly the enemy here. Don't try to transmute grief. This service to others thing is kind of talking about like, Allow others to be a service to you as you show up in your most authentic self to whatever Thanksgiving party. I almost said Halloween party. Maybe there's someone you met at a Halloween party. Maybe that's, I don't know. Maybe you had a social faux pas at a Halloween party and you're thinking about that. Whatever. At whatever party you're at, though, just come as your authentic self and allow people to move around you, because they will find their way. And the people who don't find you engaging or interesting should have the good sense to just talk to somebody else. And this might also be a cue to you that you are being, if you're thinking of this party guest or something, and you're like, oh, I'm dreading talking to them. It seems as though the only reason that we ever really dread these kinds of things is really when we feel like our personal freedom, like our good time, like our being able to relax, our personal peace is beholden to this other person. And so they're saying too, you do yourself and this other person a service by being extremely kind and loving and engaging with them, but also setting appropriate boundaries, because we all have to live in a community here. Your boundaries don't have to be harsh or hard in order to be respected. And that it is worthwhile to see what comes up rather than not even attempting it. Growth. I wonder too, you might find yourself in a situation or a conversation with someone during Thanksgiving, or during at some point around this new moon, and you're like, wow, I can't believe how differently I'm handling this. Or you might even be like, I wish I was handling this a little bit differently. And because you catch yourself and you're like, oh my God, I think this is how I've always handled this situation. Let's see what else. Let's see what other way that I can bring myself to this conversation. Yeah, there's this like, let the universe catch you. Let yourself surprise yourself. Let yourself change. But the transmutation of grief or loss is not like a mechanical thing. This isn't like, it's like breathing. Just let it happen. Watch the change. There even, that phrase like be the change. Don't do that. Don't be anything. Just observe. Because someone's going to answer these questions. And it's going to be you. And you're going to be like, that was me? Oh my God. Yeah. And also in providing a service to others. What is this about this service to others that keeps coming back? It's a funny thing, because it's like, how are you serving yourself? Are you not also... It's like, because it's getting a little meta here. It's a little bit like, well, because you are incarnated on Earth and you are the one you're supposed to be protecting, are you not doing yourself a disservice when you allow like other people to take up all the space in the room, or you change your actions based on the way that somebody feels that you should be? This is sort of, yeah. They're clarifying, like, this is not what that person's spirit guides, like, if you think of like the cuddliest, wuddliest version of their spirit guides, like we've all got ones who are taking us through tough lessons, but one who is like, wants their person to be able to interact kindly and blah, blah, blah. Imagine how that spirit guide would want their charge, to learn. And so if you don't tell people when they are upsetting you, or you don't set boundaries, you do the other person a disservice. But if you set boundaries in a very harsh way, or a way where you have to cut someone off, and the way that you do it is like through this like angst, and you're like, oh well, they never meant anything to me or something, you actually hurt yourself. Connections are complicated, and they're worthy no matter what the consequences. All right, so our next card here is empathy. I'm open to seeing both sides of a situation. Yeah, I wonder if either there was, again, like Halloween came up, so like maybe you had an argument with someone on Halloween, I don't know. Or maybe this was like last Thanksgiving, you had something with someone and you're gonna see them again, or I really don't know what was going on with you. But there is empathy towards like seeing things, like leaning back a little bit and seeing things in the way that everyone's spirit guides watching the party would. they're giving, you know, this metaphor of this Thanksgiving party, like maybe you're not even doing anything like that, so you can disregard that. Why do I keep even saying it like that? Like was there someone in your life who was saying like, we're not, oh, this is interesting. I don't know if this is a side plot or whatever, but they're kind of insisting, they're like, oh, well, we're not together. Like this doesn't matter. Or like, we're just, maybe you have like a friends with benefits situation, or like, this wasn't as big of a deal. And you're like, it was a big deal to me. Or like, yes, we are together. Or like, the way that we are dealing with things is not the way I want to be dealing with things. Something like that. Whatever. If that's happening, to have empathy for everyone who's involved with this. And if you do need to set boundaries or walk away from something, to do it with the kindness of like pretending that you're all like children on a playground or something, you know. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Here we go. We're coming full circle. All right, so we had, look at, this is transformation. In transmuting grief, yeah, like it seems like there was either a conflict with a person or a situation or something that you were unhappy with. It seems like there is, for some reason, you have to deal with it. I mean, hey, that's life. You really want peace in this. You're finding inspiration from their depths. This is a service to yourself and others when you show up in your most authentic way. Your growth comes from seeing yourself differently. I think having empathy, well, we're going to talk a little bit more about this. I'm just summarizing, but I think this is empathy for the other person, even if they're maybe being a little crazy, I don't know. But this is what causes that transformation. That is what the metamorphosis really is from your grief. You don't have to try so hard to make your pain meaningful, because it's pain. That is the point of it. It's suffering. You're doing it right. Like that's it. The transformation though, when you're ready for something other than pain or suffering or sadness or dwelling or whatever it is, like a little icky feeling that's like, oh God, like shot right through the heart. It's empathy which will remove you from it. And yeah, it seems like this growth is coming with like, either you're seeing this growth and empathy in yourself and you're like, wow, I'm a beautiful butterfly now. Or you come to blows with someone on Thanksgiving and you're like, wow, I've got some personal work to do. But they're still saying like, that's okay. It's better to have the fight. You have to go through the war in order for there to be peace at the end. That's critical. Otherwise you wouldn't know what peace was. And yeah, it kind of comes full circle. Any wars that you enter into from this point forward, once you've like really, it's interesting because the word they're saying is masticated, which means chewing. Yeah, once you've like gotten all of the nutrients out of it and you really like, it's just done, it's over, you've eaten the meal and you've shat it out, just to bring up poop again, sorry. Yeah, that is the value of shit. That's the value of the mud from which the lotus grows. I like that a lot. Okay. You know, I'm actually going to leave it there. We're only 18 minutes in. I normally do a little bit longer, but that felt good. Yes, even look at this. Okay. And here's our lotus, our rose. In the Western world, the rose is it's kind of like every rose has its thorn, is the same sentiment as, you know, no mud, no lotus from the Eastern world. So, yeah, I'm just thinking of that song. Every rose has its thorns. And you see how like, yeah, this rose is like in the icky part. Anyway, I love this though. Let's do one more card. Let's do Pokemon cards. What's the, who's our little champion? Who are we channeling for this? Who's the Pokemon that we choose for this battle? Oh, we don't even have a Yes, it's this water energy. It's this inspiration, the depths of your subconscious, this watery energy, like the mud. They're also showing like how water moves through you and it collects debris like from your blood, and that's like what pee is. Interesting that there's a lot of like, yeah, just like bodily metaphors here too, like chewing, pooping, peeing, things that are just like gross and human. And that might even be how you're viewing this grief or this conflict or something. You're like, I don't want to have to go through this. Like, this is gross. Or there's like some sort of shame about your humanness that is coming up, that is surprising you, or you're learning you've dealt with already, or something like that. But yeah, the only thing you need, you don't need a Pokemon. You don't need like a little monster. You don't even need another person with this. You just need your own subconscious, the water within yourself. And trust in your own processes, that you can clean out your own waste. And that peace comes from this. There it is, folks. All right, cool. Well, happy Thanksgiving. Happy new moon in Sagittarius. And I'll see you later. Toodles.